the competitive online matches, we might mostly be taking a look throughout the game mechanics and experiment with ourselves a little bit, possibly with the workshop if there's anything you'd like to see. What we are doing here is preparing for the first big main event we might have on stream. We're going to be trying to mod in our own custom character, of course based off of my fabulous visage. Now, game booting up, you'll see if you look in the bottom left, we should have a notification that this game was made in GameMaker Studio 2, which is probably the game design engine I'd be most familiar with. So, as long as we're able to get into the modding scene soon, I should already have plenty of experience under my belt. Just as a preparation and sort of the best introduction, I'm not going to be spending all the time in tutorial or online mode, training mode, or abyss. I think we can just directly do the story, which will introduce us to the first 6 characters, as bare bones of a story as this game provides. I suppose we'll go throughout the usual pattern that they'd imply, going from the allegedly main character in Not would look like clockwise order is our best bet. 10 seconds. How you've managed that? Suppose we'll wait through each and every bit of one of these. Now, as you know, this is basically Furry Smash Brothers. I don't think the story is too important, but it's been a while. Zetterburn and his loyal legion returned to the Fire Capital after vanquishing the Air Armada ships that preyed upon... Oh. This feels like there's already been story before. I wonder if there is a chronological order that's preferred. After vanquishing the Air Armada ships that preyed upon the Fire Empire's far-flung trade routes. However, their triumphant return is met not by laurels and celebrations, but by black banners and dirges. The Fire Capital is deep in mourning. I imagine it's going to give us lots of story exposition and then have some completely irrelevant fights in between. Zetterburn is supposed to be the most familiar character to Smash players, being a space animal function. Well, there's your 10 seconds, I suppose. On to the next chapter. Zetterburn discovers that his father, Emperor Renburn, has been assassinated with a famous dagger belonging to an inconceivable suspect, Forsburn, Zetterburn's beloved brother. Meanwhile, Minister of Trade Loxodont is to be crowned the new emperor. The Fire Council convinces a distraught Zetterburn that this was his father's wish. Zetterburn, a loyal citizen of Fire, accepts that the council's will. He pledges his loyalty to Emperor Loxodont and vows revenge upon the traitorous Forsburn. For what I remember about Forsburn, he's the edgelord character who might have some ulterior motives, not necessarily a traitor. Now, Rastar here has a number of functions from aerial-focused characters in previous Smash games. You'll notice that his neutral B, should he ever actually do it in this match, is directly Meta Knight's Mach Tornado. Other than that, he borrows a number of attacks from, say, Captain Falcon or Falco or Greninja. His general gimmick is he's supposed to be very fast in the air. Hello James, welcome to the stream. Glad to see you arrive. We just began, nothing too important yet. For the most part... Oh wow, the AI's putting me through the ringer, aren't they? Alright, time for a bit of a less predictable approach. There, that should mix up the movement a little bit. That night, Forsburn materializes in Zetterburn's imperial chambers. Forsburn pleads for his brother's aid and accuses the council of murdering their father. Certain of Forsburn's guilt, Zetterburn flies into a rage, attacking his once beloved brother. Forsburn barely manages to escape with his life. I'm pretty sure this one's actually set up as a guaranteed match you'll have to go through. Then again, in retrospect, all the story mode matches are guaranteed fights against the other 5 members of the initial starting roster. The game started with only 6, but has grown to 12 canon characters in time. And I do believe sometime soon, if it's not out already, there should be a definitive edition which has 4 more community-made characters. For the complete experience, it might be good for us to go ahead and download all of the workshop characters in question. One-shotting all these, well, by the time that message arrives over here, that's going to be no longer the case. 168% damage, does it carry over between matches? I think it does. We should be able to survive, this shouldn't be too difficult for us. Coronation Day dawns. The citizens present Loxodont with the Flame Empyrean, a sacred torch granting the rule of fire. Zetterburn watches, exhausted and doubtful. Suddenly, a water creature appears and steals the flame. It is the elusive Orcane. Orcane leaps with the flame into a mysterious purple puddle, and is gone. And he's gone. Looks like he'll be our last fight. Right now we are going to be fighting Crag, who is the token heavy character. I don't think he replicates any particular smash functions. He'll mostly be fighting on his own style, but generally the heavyweight character with high attack power and high defense, at the expense of some mobility and a tendency to have trouble getting in. We do carry over damage, noted. It shouldn't be too difficult for us, however. Maybe some more wave dashing is in order. Wow, he packs a punch. Then again, heavy characters usually are new populars, and this isn't a game I'm particularly accustomed to. There you go, have some rocks. Alright, hopefully we can do this on the first go and not end up losing 2 lives to Orcane here. The Fire Council orders Zetterburn to retrieve the flame. Ever loyal, the Fire General unleashes a maelstrom on Merchant Port, the home of Oh, you don't have to go around burning everything, that's my job! Zetterburn rampages through the unprepared city, until he reaches the docks, where he finds a purple Orcane guarding the ceremonial torch. For what I know, Orcane is supposed to be codified as somewhat less intelligent than the other characters. If I remember correctly, he doesn't actually ever speak language. So Orcane here is obviously an orca, but it's also some sort of a whale dolphin thing. He has an interesting playstyle. Doesn't necessarily borrow from any smash functions, although some of those attacks will be reminiscent of Squirtle. He's supposed to be a trickster character. What he does is he leaves that puddle around, which he uses as a teleportation feature. Along with otherwise being relatively difficult to track. Ah, too slow. Ah, he has 2 lives. Alright, so we did start this fight a little bit disadvantaged. Now, this game doesn't have shielding. Instead, you have parries, which will freeze your opponent in place for a punish. They'll freeze in place longer the more powerful attack you unleashed on them. The way you play around that is parries, of course, don't do anything on jabs. There aren't grabs in this game. Since there isn't shielding, it's a bit less necessary. They tried to keep the combat very dynamic and fast-paced. Very dangerous being above him. That blowhole is a lot more dangerous than it might look initially. Total time 4 minutes. Fast enough for us, I suppose. Oh, that didn't look very fun right there. Suddenly, Orcane dissipates. The water creature was a mere shadow. Beset with doubt, his instincts ablaze, Zetterburn's eyes fall on a purple glow, and plumes of smoke on the western horizon. Save the mutated Orcus. Absolutely. Orcane is a very adorable mascot character, the closest to a mascot that we have for this game. Silver ranking, I suppose that's decent enough. We might return later and try to get gold after we become more familiar with this game. Or platinum if there's a rank above that. Orcane going on with the Air Armada, that's a bit different, isn't it? Seems like a lot of these have it set up to where their story ends, not necessarily where it begins. As we all know, Orcane is definitely not part of the Air Nation. Ah, fish people. Funny. The board members of the Water Trading Company are furious that the Air Armada has destroyed their flagship and constantly pillages their trade routes. They hatch a plan to infiltrate the Air Armada and bring it down once and for all. However, there's only one creature in Merchant Port that can breach Armada's defenses, Orcane. An elusive trickster, Orcane steals from the WTC and gives to the underpaid company workers, based. However, the chairman announces that they will bargain with the notorious thief. A Robin Hood sort of character. I can dig it. No earth pun necessary. Although I have absolutely no memory of how his moveset functions. Most important part is we will need to up B every time we land on the stage because that sets our portal that we use to recover. Side B's a little interesting. Ah, can they destroy his puddle? Is that what the deal is? Now that forward air, which is the bubbles, looks definitely interesting. Seems like an excellent move for annoying your opponents. It's very disruptive to recovery, I can imagine. There we go. A little difficult figuring out how to score the KO with them. We will begin discussing moveset ideas for our future Xander once more people arrive. The chairman knows Orcane's fondness for these poor fishermen, Nesbit and his granddaughter. Nesbit's low wages are barely enough to put food on the table. The chairman appears at the docks and offers a feast for Orcane's adopted family. However, in exchange, the family must convince Orcane to do the bidding of the WTC. But the savvy Nesbit bargains for more. A yearly feast for all the workers of Merchant Port, 1 day of holiday each week, and a representation at WC board meetings. Quite the tall order. The chairman frowns. It is a steep bargain, but he is forced to agree. Trade negotiations with the business, also based. The fire capital seems to be on fire. Alright, can't ever forget the upbeat. So you might see that there were 2 force burns on the screen for a moment. Force burn, like Orcane, is a trickster, but he does his tricks in a somewhat different way. You'll see the smoke clouds he's giving out will obscure the screen. As well, one of his specials creates a fake duplicate, one that dies after 1 hit, but otherwise replicates a lot of actions. So, you have to guess which one's the real one. Come on, why am I losing this matchup? Water should be good against fire. And that is why being above Orcane is very dangerous. What happened to that puddle? Ah, well that does plenty of damage at least. Seems we're going to have a lot more trouble with this character. He'll be more difficult to play. Nesbit's granddaughter is the only one who can convey the plan to Orcane. The water creature agrees. He will do anything to help his adoptive family. Using his mysterious water powers to sneak into the Armada through an unguarded sink, Orcane sniffs his way through the airship, seeking the WTC's stolen goods. There's his dog-like behaviors. You'll also see he hasn't had any direct conversation himself, so he's sort of a mute puppy. Whatever the heck he's supposed to be. Everything else seems to be based off of some actual animal. Not very tough, are you, Maple? Let's see you try to weasel your way out of this one. Good parry. Get a little chop out there. I suppose you're just not going to recover. If I remember, Maple actually is a female character, but I can't remember where that's indicated. Suddenly, Orcane happens upon a strange scene. He spies the Air Armada's commander selling the chairman's goods worth millions in exchange for a single scroll. This is no ordinary scroll. It's a shimmering, shifting map illustrating weak points in the defense of every civilization across the surface of Aether. Is it Ether or Aether? I think it's officially pronounced Ether. I'll have to look that one up. Here's the ever so important fight with Zetterburn. Up B so that we don't forget. Although it will be difficult for us to set it up again while we're at disadvantage, so we will have to play more offensively here. Ah, right. That attack set up a puddle for us easily. Alright, less predictable approaches. We'll try for a bait and punish, since that seems to be Orcane's bread and butter. One life left. This will be over soon. It seems his up B, at least warping into the puddle, is probably one of his best finisher attacks. We have seen the opponents destroy the puddles a few times, so I'm wondering what causes that. Maybe a trip to the tutorial would have been best for us. Come on, get down here. Noted, Orcane is not a Rushtown character. Instead seems to be focused more towards a keep away, bait and punish sort of style. Distracted by this newfound intrigue, Orcane is startled by the appearance of Rester and Bradshaw. The two Armada wingmen are amazed to find a water dweller inside the Armada. Rester, ever the hothead, shoves his wingman to the side and challenges the water creature to close quarters combat. Right there we have a scene very obviously in the highway, but knowing the stages in this game, why are we in the sky now? Now, given that this is supposed to be a Smash game, you have to be a lot more careful with your control stick inputs, making sure that instead of doing a double input like a dash for most other games, it's tapping the control stick really hard to dash. Ah, we might just do this on our first life. There's his mock tornado. Alright, so we see he has a lot of difficult to see teleports and such. Over here. Rastor will have 2 lives, given that he is the last character we fight. Didn't get him out of the tech. So close. Seems we didn't get our hands on it after all. Alright, run it by one more time. An extra minute added on, so I guess that's how they penalize you for needing to continue. We'll have to play a lot more defensively rather than using our rushdown tricks. It seems he has very good specials that have slow startup, but long range, so they should be excellent for a punish. If you get your opponent to miss, there's a lot of opportunities you can at least start the attack. It seems after Arcane takes enough damage, that's what triggers the pedal to disappear. There's our easy teleport on the way back to the field. Cute little guy. Excellent placement there. So that up B does excellent damage, but it's very slow to recover. We're going to have to do that on the punish to make sure that we don't get punished ourselves. So close. That'll get us back onto the ground easily. Huh. I wonder if charging a smash attacks will do more damage. Or have more range. Obviously they deal more damage, but it looks like it does depend on how long they've been charged up. Interesting. Or maybe there's another mechanic on him having to build up something else. So I might come time to repeat this later. Oh, in a moment. Arcane defeats Rastor and leaps out of the Armada ship. The chairman's good in tow. He returns with his loot to Merchant Port, only to find his beloved docks in flames. He quickly sweeps Nesbit's granddaughter to safety and puts out the flames. He learns that Merchant Port was attacked by a mad fire general on a senseless rampage. Arcane sniffs out the trail of the fire creature and follows it west, leaving off his home in the water once again. I do believe all of the stories that we have here are concurrent, so they occupy the same time frame. Given that we saw Zetterburn try to grapple with whatever that Arcane was, only to reveal he was a creature of shadow, I'm pretty sure all of these fights are implied to be some sort of imposter between them. Next up, and halfway through, we'd have Rastor. Rastor and Bradshaw are the top wingmen in the Armada, an elite aerial military that ranges above the whole Aetherian continent. The Armada pillages merchant transports and harasses unguarded Empire outposts. Rastor alone among the Armada flyers is known to break rank for personal glory. Of course, he's a Captain Falcon main character. Raster is a brilliant but unpredictable flyer. Bradshaw's cautious but steady. They've been best friends and unlikely partners since their days in the Air Academy. Let's rock. Now, I'm pretty sure Rastar has higher speed while he's in that gale from that projectile, so we're going to see if we can do that as much as possible. If I remember, he also doesn't have grounded smash attacks, only aerial ones. Which, all of them have a sweet spot in there, indicated by a little spark once they come out. While soaring above the Aetherian forest on a routine scouting mission, Raster spots a destroyed section of the rock wall. Raster swoops in to investigate while Bradshaw follows. The two friends pirouette in the air, showing off to each other. They fly in fast and reckless. We're already at the rock wall, so I assume there's a lot that goes on here, given that that's supposed to be the last battle here. Yep, we might want to be careful, very careful. Go for the glory. Luckily, we didn't suffer too hard for that one. So it seems the AI here is very good at stuffing your approach. We might have to remember that for every single one of these characters. Of course, this is Smash. The defensive and offensive mechanics are different from other fighting games. I wonder if that has a tipper. You see there's the blue mark towards the edge of his up B. Doesn't seem like there's a shine, so maybe the entire tip of that is where it does extra damage. A little slow on the battle there, but we'll pick it up. Been playing Rivals since 2016, but if you held a gun to my head and asked me to explain the lore of this game, just end me. I think the lore here is mostly just placeholder. Welcome to the stream, Mako. When Crag— wait, did I just miss the first bit of dialogue there? Shame. When Crag sees Rastar and Bradshaw diving towards the wall, he braces for attack. Assuming that the Air Armada is taking advantage of the weakness in his wall, Crag pulls up a rock and hurls it upwards, smashing Bradshaw out of the sky. Well, that's one of two birds with one stone. I know Ileana and Clarion basic backstories, that's it. Funny enough, those are the two characters that I play whenever I do actually boot this game. A shame that neither of them get story representation in this game. Tell me, Mako, is the definitive edition out yet? I need to check that. If not, maybe it would be better to play this game then when it happens, but there is a reason we're doing the stream here. Get that kick done. Alright, no grounded smash attacks. We'll have to be a lot more aerial with our approaches. To be fair, the only reason you know theirs is it being in their DLC trailer. Same here. I don't think this game's supposed to be that much lore. It's an indie fighting game. Which either those have absolutely no lore and are just made by people who are fond of fighting games themselves and are just looking to make their own. Or in the case of some people like Lab Zero and Skullgirls, they build up some whole elaborate lore because they're really trying to go in on it and just incidentally pick the fighting game. Goodness. These AI are harder, or at least I just really don't know what I'm doing. Definitive's been out since September 2020. I should probably be playing that then. I have been paying absolutely no attention to rivals. Although it's just a set of updates, isn't it? I thought there was a guaranteed set of workshop characters, or that might have been a later update. I am on definitive. Okay, easy enough. I thought there were, that was mostly what it was about, was testing. I thought there were supposed to be some workshop characters that were being canonized in the definitive edition. Easy, on our last life with 100% damage. If Xanderburn has the cloth, you're on definitive. Thank you, Mako. You have taught me something as well. The intense force of the Wall Builder's projectile propels Bradshaw into the unyielding rock wall, rendering the aerial ace unconscious. Ah, well, no other story there. We're just going directly into Rastor's next battle. Workshop pack isn't out yet, same with rollback not out yet. Okay, thank you. It's whenever that comes out that I plan on definitely streaming this again, but I might be streaming this a bit more soon, depending on how much time or how easy it is to develop a custom character. That's generally the goal here, is to set the stage for future development of a modded character here. Ah, just out of range. Alright, I'm pretty sure the whole deal with Rastor is you're just supposed to be using aerials as much as possible. I mean, being the air character and all. Alright, stay away, we'll camp with some projectiles and then have a chance to get in a big punish soon. I suppose we should definitely be doing Mach Tornado a lot more neutral. Excellent hit. They were going to add a second story mode for the other characters, but Story 1 people didn't really like it, so it never happened. You mainly play workshop stuff nowadays, though you might return to the base cast comp once the roster update hits. I've never really played this game competitively. None of my friends are interested, unfortunately. Even though they're all filthy, disgusting, unwashed Smash players. Just a lot more interested in workshop tourneys and such right now because fresher rosters. Well, I might be able to have something to throw on the table soon enough. Seeing his wingmen in peril, Rastor erupts into a blind fury. Screeching in rage, he wheels in midair and launches himself at the rock creature, spending the entire second half of the story here just to say Rastor got angry. And now he's gonna beat this bug up. Alright, 2 lives, let's make this work. I wonder how big the workshop scene is for this game. I've definitely seen some stuff get popular, but I only know of Rivals of Aether streaming mostly being a side project for otherwise Smash-focused streamers. At least I haven't looked into it too far. You guess you've started barely a character, but spriting is so hard, so no clue. I myself, as of the namesake Turing, would also be a programmer. But right here would be an excellent start for me to try to figure out some of the artistic direction, given the low resolution of these sprites compared to something more demanding. I used to work a lot with amateur game design stealing some sort of sprites from Nintendo games here and there. And I have had some prior experience trying to make sprites for games running at approximately this resolution. Workshop isn't as big as Basecast, but it does have a lot of brackets. You know, that's a very interesting thing I might start trying to look for. Participation in. Oh wow, he's really not gonna drop that rock, is he? So that forward smash in the air definitely is clunky when it lands. We need to make sure we get the absolute biggest punish for that, instead of just using it in neutral like we've been. It seems all of his aerial smash attacks have a lot of recovery. That's obviously intentional. You can't just go around spamming those in neutral and expect not to be punished. Note it, can't fire another tornado while that gale is already out. The jet stream or whatever it would be called. I can definitely understand more of a focus on workshop tourneys. The character design in this game, the moveset design is excellent, but the character design is a little boring. Gameplay design is definitely excellent. I love the movesets of every single one of these characters. Really feels like they all have a very specific gameplay they're trying to work towards. There we go, that's enough damage. Didn't want to have to restart that stage over. Your 5 to 6 weekly tourneys plus majors run workshop brackets, and also bi-weekly and monthly ones soon. Mostly different rosters each, but minus side quest, a lot of staples are in most stuff. Victorious against the wall builder, Raster carefully picks up his injured friend and carries him back to the Air Armada. Raster is ridden with guilt for allowing his reckless bravado to endanger his brother in arms. He swears to find Crag and seek revenge. Meanwhile below, Crag picks himself up and quickly repairs the wall. Mysteriously, the wall builder sets off east, accompanied by a small, Aetherian companion vine. Take a drink. Only real limitation is no copyrighted characters in the officially hosted tourneys, for obvious reasons, which is a bit sad but understandable. Knowing how many characters get ripped sprites from existing games for that, I definitely see the disappointment. Sort of a small successor to Mugen, or at least the closest thing we have to a Smash Mugen. Wonder how popular that scene still is. Definitely has gone downhill in the last few years. Funny enough, there's existing IP characters that people make characters off of for this, which is interesting. Quite the devotion if you're going to be making all the assets yourself, but then using someone else's character. Crag's life is slow and meditative. His people, the wall builders, devote their entire lives to maintaining the Great Rock Wall. They alone wield the power to manipulate great masses of stone. Most wall builders are born on the wall, and will circle the whole Aetherian forest 3 times during their lifetimes, never setting foot on the ground below. Seems a little dull and drab, but that's exactly what you'd expect from a rock-headed beetle like this. Crag's probably my favorite out of the story characters, mostly because it's fun just throwing those rocks everywhere. As well, Crag being the heavy character is just generally easier for newer players to pick up. Not even Rip sprites necessarily. Regigigas, Wall-E, Muno Steve, and Sonic, any Circle Guy character are all custom sprited, and more. Well, I suppose that compounds the issue I just brought up. Why would you make all of those assets for someone else's character? One day, Crag comes upon a huge breach in the northern wall. He has never seen such destruction, and fears the threat that might have entered the forest. Your first main was Orcane. I still have no idea how to play that little orca dog thing. Of course, total I probably only have about 50 hours in this game, so it's not enough to say I've done a significant amount of play. As for actually playing the game when I did practice it, it was quite a bit after launch. I had mostly a focus on playing Clarion and Eliana, being the closest to sci-fi characters as you can imagine I have an affinity for. No, in retrospect, a lot of the newer DLC characters definitely had more interesting designs to offer. Got him. Hey, let's get creative with references. Definitely, it's a lot easier to do the idea phase if you have something else to work off of. As well, like what you've seen with the way that Smash characters get applied into the newest Smash Bros. By Sakurai. There's a lot of creative room by giving yourself a way to interpret one character into a different setting. Granted the game a ton, 2016 to 2018. I think I started playing around 2017, but only for a short amount of time. I don't have a friend base necessarily to be playing this game much. And until the past few years, I've been living out in the country with absolutely horrible internet. If I had more friends interested in this community, I'd definitely have played it a lot more. Crag begins the laborious process of summoning rocks to repair the wounded wall. He must heal it quickly to protect the precious Aetherian forest from outside threats. Suddenly, the unthinkable happens. Crag is attacked from inside the wall. Get some jumps up there. Oh, wow. I attacked the wrong one. Rocks. I'm gonna have to start thinking like a Smash player. Less unga bunga, this is not Guilty Gear. Just will not expire, will you? A lot of the original characters are a bit more basic, but every fighter needs to fall into that trend to different degrees. As we all know, a lot of people are generally trapped into making a shadow clone character for their original fighting game character. That's not an issue necessarily in Smash Bros., but Xanderburn himself, being the supposed to be closest of the main character, of course, derives all of his function from Spacies, basically. Crag's rock-bound mind can barely process what he sees. The Great Wall was made to protect the treetop dwellers, but now one of them is mounting an attack from in. Obviously that's not your friend, she's purple. Rastar would not be your friend either. He is also purple. Well, that was easy. Alright, here we are. A battle with Maple herself. Allegedly. Outraged, Crag steps off the wall for the first time in his life to confront the treetop traitor, Maple, vigilante of the forest. Meanwhile, bystanders gather. The treetop dwellers only see Crag trespassing on the forest floor to attack one of their own. Outraged, they vow retaliation of their former allies, the Wall Builders. What you love about the Workshop community is how even Workshop characters are designed just how base cast characters are with moveset design. I did look up some of the documentation in it, and I felt like the projectile stuff would be the most limited. After all, it's very reminiscent of Smash modding, which I've done a lot for Brawl during the Project M days. You could do just about anything with the customization tools, except projectiles were a bit of a different story. Being considered separate objects by the game, they have their own pre-programmed and predefined functions. But from a lot of characters I've seen on the Workshop, they definitely seem to have a lot more freedom with projectiles than I would originally imagine. There we go, I'm gonna stop that approach. How do you like that? I would definitely love to see more builder-type characters in traditional fighting games. Do we even have anyone who functions sort of as that archetype? Given that you can't do much platforming in most fighting games, I imagine not, but being able to construct walls at least would definitely make for a different fighting game experience. And I don't mean Aegis Reflector. Even if most Workshop characters are pretty below base cast and power level, they still feel like extensions of the base cast. I have noticed that a lot of the Workshop characters tend to stick to the existing rules, the existing character design rules of Riders of Aether, and that makes me very proud that so many people are willing to make their custom characters fitting to the lore. Controllable projectiles, a personal favorite of mine, have been done by several characters. You just have to be very creative in coding them. Well, if anyone could handle that challenge, that would be me. Luckily, I believe, as a consequence of how the workshop handles things, as well as the scripting nature for all the custom characters. Essentially, every workshop character is open source. Worst comes to worst, I'll just steal someone else's code. Don't mention that. To Crag's amazement, the purple treetop dweller vanishes. May Reed, younger sister Mabel, approaches and drops a letter to the forest floor. The letter explains that the shadowy warrior couldn't have been the real Mabel, because she left moons ago to find the source of the strange purple disease in the forest. Crag realizes that the only way to protect his beloved wall and forest is to leave them. May Reed sends Lily with Crag to help him track down Maple in the middle of her quest. Adorable little flower. Of a sort. Now, every character derives their abilities from some sort of element, most of them derivative of the Western four elements. Obviously you have Earth here being represented by both rocks itself through Crag, and leaves with Maple here. Now we have to figure out, what would the Xander character use for their element? Atomic fusion? Magnetism? Maybe electricity, but we already have representation of that through Absub. Not that we're necessarily restricted to not copying the existing elements. After all, fire's very popular, and being allowed only one fire character would be dull. Maple, after all, there's that one Firefly that has all the Molotov cocktails and stuff, right? Isn't that technically a fire character on the workshop? Malo, I think, was their name. Maple, self-appointed guardian of the Aetherian forest and daughter of the treetops, protects the treetop lodges and floor below with her companion plant, Lily. High on the canopy, the treetop dwellers look down on the lowly denizens of the forest floor, but Maple knows the forest is one. They will thrive or perish together. And now Maple feels a disturbance through the roots of the forest. There's a sickness under the ground. Malo indeed. So now we have to figure out what the Xander element is. I tend to use a lot of atoms in my symbology, so maybe some sort of atomic fusion would be up for grabs. We'd have to see what sort of mechanics that allows for them. Much of the inspiration we could draw from in that case would be possibly Oku from Toho, for anyone who happens to be a fan of that series. Well, that seems to be going a lot better with Maple. You also have Static as a Firefly with a battery they smack and electrocute you with. I don't think I've seen that character. So, tonight we might go rummaging through the workshop after we go through our story mode initially. Maple and Lily soon discover that the forest is infested with a mysterious purple shadow. Wherever the shadows touch, the plants turn twisted and ugly. Zetterburn. Well, if you know grass and fire, this should be jokingly a losing matchup for us. Ah, right. That was how Maple recovers. You definitely always need to keep a seed on your opponent. You know, I'd probably like Maple a bit more out of the original characters of the cast. Yes, I am a dedicated Earth maid then. In the last stream, they said the animal, or one of the viewers here said that the animal best representing Xander would allegedly be a snow leopard, so I guess ice is on the table as well. Or snow, which might have some sort of alleged difference from ice. Tons of meter characters, but none with nuclear type stuff. Nuclear gauge and such hasn't been explored yet, you don't think? Interesting idea. I wonder if it is possible to build some sort of chemistry. I just skipped another line of dialogue, didn't I? That'll be visible in the VOD. We're not too concerned with the story here, this is all just filler. Maple gives Mayreed a letter that details all of her discoveries about the purple rot and its source. Maple tells her sister to share the letter with any forest dweller who will read it. Mayreed worries that Maple is too reckless and begs her to stay, but both sisters feel the danger lurking beneath the roots. All of Aether could be in peril. Definitely lean into the nuclear fission radiation meltdown characteristics. You know, I do absolutely love characters that have an overheat mechanic in other games, such as Robokite from Guilty Gear XX. Characters that you are given sort of a meter to manage, which gets fuller as you use certain attacks and might have mechanics to go along with that, such as more powerful but potentially self-damaging as it raises. That would be lovely. Nuclear fusion. And then having an explosive meltdown, so... You know, if I'd be honest with myself, having a self-destructive character like that is definitely on the fun side and in the category of things I appreciate, so maybe a character that sets up so much nuclear power that once it reaches a certain level it starts becoming self-destructive. You might be able to build that meter into a payout, sort of a limit break like what Cloud does, but more explosive. Snow Leopard plus God Particle. Interesting idea. I can't remember the whole God Particle thing. I've definitely heard the name before. I don't know if that's fictitious or the name of some peculiar scientific particles. Maple crosses the continent, scouting and searching, following the sickness within the earth. With each day away from the forest, she feels herself growing weaker. Moons into her journey, she comes across an enclave under siege. When she creeps closer to investigate, she discovers the Fire Guard attacking the Smoke Clan's hideout. Also too much radium and you suffer from radiation poisoning. Start building up self-damage more rapidly as the meter builds, perhaps. I don't know if we'll be doing a full brainstorming session tonight. We might be mostly looking for... well, 1, an easy fight, and 2, just harvesting a few ideas. Maybe not necessarily writing down too many original thoughts for ourselves. I'm gonna have to boot up the paint software, aren't I? Start scribbling some stuff and maybe draw some ideas. Suddenly, Forsburn appears in a whirlwind of smoke. Seeing it... Wait, I'm talking about heat management mechanics, and that's exactly what Ileana does. That's why I liked her so much. Although hers had less explosive results. It would power up your smash attacks, but there wasn't necessarily a way for you to self-destruct with it. Suddenly, Forsburn appears in a whirlwind of smoke. Seeing his adopted home under attack, he mistakes Maple for one of the assailants. In that same moment, Maple witnesses Forsburn's smoky sorcery, and presumes him to be in a league with the twisting shadows infecting the forest. They both leap into attack. Alright, chalk that down onto the drawing board. Idea number 1 is self-destructive nuclear fusion or fission. Uh-oh. Throw out a seed, plant a flower. Or, you know, a vine of sorts. We seem to be doing a lot better with Maple, which is excellent news. Huh! Funny enough, now that I think about it, Maple might have essentially a better matchup against Forsburn because you will be able to identify which one is real given which one you place the seed on. And that will have the rotating leaves around them, so we're always going to know which is the real one so long as we have the leaves on. Ah, not enough hit stun there. I guess hit stun increases with how much damage they have. Everyone's got their own game plan. Get out of here. Maple Force is weird. Eliana is Robokai but as a snake and a mech, and honestly I love that. Although I'm not fond of zoner archetypes, unfortunately, which does tend to be very common off of mechanical characters. Given rocket punches and explosions, they usually try to keep their distance a bit. Robokai, however, Robokai's an oddball, but he's still relatively balanced. Maple demands to know what role Forsburn plays in the shadowy sickness. Taken aback, Forsburn explains his own encounter with the mysterious purple shadow and the disappearance of his brother. Maple and Forsburn conclude that the danger lies to the west. They set off together to find the source of the strange menace to Aether. Seed does help identify which is real, but also Maple struggles at swatting down the clone. Does the clone absorb projectiles? I suppose they'll have to. Thank you for your insight, Mako. I don't really know much about this game at all. This leaves us to the last— oh well, we've done best with her, impressive. This leaves us to our last character, Forsburn. Once we have these 6 in place, we might go ahead and start experimenting with workshop characters. See what inspiration we can draw. Forsburn. Forsburn returns from his home from a diplomatic mission to find his father, Emperor Renburn, slain. A knife, identical to Forsburn's dagger, is buried deep in the Emperor's chest. Emperor Renburn's loyal spy and illegitimate son, Forsburn has long distrusted his father's fire council. Now, all too late, he discovers their treacherous goal. Forsburn flees the scene and seeks refuge in the maze of aqueducts underneath the fire capital. Clone absorbs projectiles. Also, full smoke clone can attack. Ah, that's right. Haven't played in the longest time. Quick start dash dancing while I don't have my right hand for buttons. Give me that. I want more smoke. Give me more. Don't do this with real cigarettes, please. Unless you happen to be a smoke. Hyena, that I think is what Forsburn is supposed to be. Definitely a nuisance. I mean, I'd never really appreciated trickster characters. Certain kinds of trickster characters. I enjoy trickster characters that function off of reading your opponent, such as those that have ways to dodge around your opponent's shenanigans, but those that outright deceive your opponent I never really appreciated. Such as, who's that character in A Night in Birth? Or was it in BlazBlue? Sometimes I have trouble differentiating between those two franchises. But there's another character in those games who has specials which let you create clones, and depending on which button you use, it's ambiguous if you're the one that charges forward or the one that stays back. Suspected of murder, Forsburn seeks to warn his beloved royal brother and prevent the Prior Council from seizing the imperial throne. But when Zetterburn returns to the fire capital, he doubts Forsburn's conspiracy theories. The brothers fight and Forsburn flees, wounded and betrayed. Zetterburn, convinced his brother is guilty of patricide, is devastated. He tells no one of the clandestine altercation of Forsburn's escape. Or of Forsburn's escape. Hibiki from BlazBlue, exactly. I haven't played BlazBlue in a long time either. I could never get into BlazBlue, although mechanically, in retrospect, I'd probably like a lot of that game's system mechanics more than Guilty Gear. I could never really find the character that I vibed with. In terms of actual character style, it would obviously be Tager, but I don't enjoy grappler characters. Most recently, the only character that I've really put much practice into is Kagura. I do love my stance characters. As much of a stance character as he is. Forsburn flees to the far outskirts of the Fire Empire. One night, seeking refuge on the border of the wastelands, he wakes to find himself surrounded by murky strangers. They emerge from a ring of smoke and identify themselves as sentries of the Smoke Clan. They seize the wandering fire citizen and bring him to their settlement. Out of context, Rastor. start obscuring this nonsense. And eat the smoke while we're at it. Even in spite of being a smoke character, Forceburn still has a couple of fire-related attacks, like you can see the explosion on his up B. Noted that side smash is not a very useful attack. Well, he got the right one. Alright. Get that. A lot more tricky of an approach would be necessary. Not that you can fool an AI necessarily, but they do have a way of reading your approach, just from knowing your character's movement. Alright, down smash is probably a better KO move. Same, Kagura, Platinum, Tsubaki, and such are fun. But its combos in neutral its combos in neutral never clicked as hard as other games. World record pace. Well, I'm not trying to speedrun here necessarily. It's mostly an introduction for the people who are unfamiliar with the game. To be honest, everyone has good normals and specials. Fire character main characteristic anyways is them having very good normals. Water being slippery movement and good traps. And Rastors are just better. Rastor is OP and busted. Not that I know too much about the tier list standing. Other than my character is always on the bottom, so if I lose it's my character's fault, and if I win it's because I'm that god tier of a player. Clayin, chief of the Smoke Clan, learns of Forsburn's plight and his skill in espionage. She offers him a home in the Hidden Smoke Enclave in exchange for his allegiance. Forsburn vows his loyalty. He renounces the false light of fire and vows to learn the truthful deceptions of smoke. Truthful deceptions. He is given a gray cloak of secrecy and a new identity. Characteristic of the air characters that all of them are high top tiers. Not Aliana, if I remember. Up tilt. Jab, 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 side throw. I don't remember forward tilt actually having a smoke effect previously. For however little I played this game. Oh yeah, you like that, don't you? I kind of like Forsburn. He's definitely an interesting character for me to learn. Although I don't necessarily like Tricksters, he does have some very creative applications of his kit. Deceptive movement within the smoke as well. You didn't get close. I needed you to get close. To be fair, tiers don't really exist in this game, except for Rastor. Rastor is 3 tiers above. Rastor broken because mainly a running joke at this point. He used to be broken years ago. He still is broken, but the best part about it, he one-touches the whole cast. You know, I can kind of see that. Having a few Meta Knight functions at least, and great aerial attacks. If you start a combo, I can imagine you definitely get a good 60% at minimum. Less the recent patch making Force Strongs consistent. It seems like that so far. Before long, Forsburn hears news from the Fire Capital. Zetterburn has disappeared. Despite his loyalty to the Smoke Clan, Forsburn decides he must find his brother. Donning a battle mask from the Smoke Clan, Forsburn uses a smoke portal to return to the Fire Capital. When he arrives, however, he is greeted by a familiar figure. Ah, a shiny Zetterburn. Do you have a Pokeball ready? Guess it would be an Aether Ball now, wouldn't it? You know what they say. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Yeah, I didn't DI that one enough. We're probably going to lose this first match. And then have her continue at it on. I really like how they handled the aerials in this game, such as whipping or having an attack parry will give you the extra landing lag. I think that's definitely a good compromise between L canceling and no way to reduce your landing lag whatsoever. Anything that rewards proper play is welcome in my book. Before he was Brawl Meta Knight, now he's Smash 4 Meta Knight, you know. Smash 4 Meta Knight sounds about right, not broken per se, but very cheesy. Come on. We still have a chance. It's a very small one, but we still have a chance. I want to argue about character tiers in the chat. Maybe we should switch to Strive. That's not part of the schedule tonight. Man, who wants a stream where I complain about Anji the entire time? And Gold Lewis. Close enough. We tried. When you really think about it, Raster kills you off any hit anywhere on stage. We have an argument in chat, it seems. My apologies, but I don't really have enough insight on the competitive community for rivals in order for me to have a tiebreaker argument here. Heck, I can't even name a single competitive player because I don't follow this scene. Wanted to, but I don't have enough of fellowship to join me. I've always tried to find fighting games to play with friends, and my friends mostly just play Smash. Regular Smash. Okay, I think you have to hit them with the tip of his cape. Noted. There might be a sweet spot there to deal with. DI away. Down smash certainly serves a better function for us, it seems. To be fair, you haven't been following Stride, just sticking with older gear. You know, that's completely reasonable. I didn't actually imagine I'd have any older gear players showing up in chat. Especially not on a Rivals of Aether stream. I haven't been playing too much Accent Core lately. Labbing the Slayer combos is an absolute bitch. I long for the day that we might see rollback in Exard, but maybe that's not possible due to the engine limitations. Get that tech, and get smashed. Get the smoke out there. Or try. Ah, I guess we can't smoke while our con's out. Shows how much I know about this game. We should be able to finish this off soon. Alright, we need to hit them with the tip of the cake. Da-da-da-da-da. Innocent Gear Strive win. Like Smash 64 is sick, that game is so fun for real. So you wouldn't have your opinions on balance in Strive, at least. Well, so far the characters I've been most attached to have ended up on the bottom of most people's tier lists. It's a little disappointing, but I suppose I wouldn't be appreciating Guilty Gear if I wasn't tryharding. As Forsburn uses his new powers of smoke to defeat his brother, Zetterburn vanishes. The fire capital pulses in purple shadow. Forsburn sees a blaze in the distance. The fire army has attacked the smoke hideout, while he skirmished in the fire capital. Forsburn races back to find his new home without finding his real brother, or confronting the first false emperor Loxodont. No interest in Smash Ultimate, other Smashes you like a lot. You just play whatever fighter you find fun, old, new, game mod. If it's fun, you'll mess with it at least in training. I'm a lab monster myself. Well, obviously being a scientist, that's one reason I picked that for the character design. What have I been playing recently? Strive a lot, but I have a little bit of time in Accent Core with a friend. As much as I'd like to be playing Exard, no, absolutely no one I know plays that. That's where my all-time favorite fighting game character is, but maybe Exard rollback will come around in a few years. It's the least likely, though. We might be seeing it in Central Fiction, I believe. Possibly in BlazBlue. That seems like it would be the easiest game for it to be implemented in. Main games you have right now are Melty Blood, based, King of Fighters 2002, Rivals, GG+R, and Rev 2 Training Mode. You just mess around in training mode when bored. It's like playing an instrument. Very good way to spend your time. I missed the first line again, and I'm auto-scrolling on my own head. Maple and Forsburn arrive to find Zetterburn already at the water's edge. The proud lion averts his eyes from the brother he wronged. Orkin arrives soon after. Crag appears next, reuniting Maple and her companion plant Lily. Rester arrives just moments later, having tracked down Crag to take revenge for Bradshaw's injury. Funny, the air guy is the real hothead here. No fire puns abound. Suddenly, the earth shivers, and the water seethes with oily strands of shadow. The sea pulses purple, and a vast stone edifice arises from the depths of a raging whirlpool. You wish RevTool would get rollback sooner than later, but training mode is fine. I know that Arc System Works has been speculating adding rollback to some of their games. Recently, they have posted about, Grand Blue, DBFC, and BlazBlue, I think. I don't think they were talking too much about Uniclear, given that that's not their game. I think out of all of their most recent games, Exard is the least likely to get rollback, because then it would be competing with Strive. And I know if Exard had rollback, I definitely would not be playing Strive. No amount of behemoth typhoons will convince me to stay. This strangely ancient stone structure seems to be a gateway. Through this portal, the rival warriors glimpse a vast abyss that plunges deep below the surface of Aether. Take a drink. This must be the source of Maple's underground rot and the ephemeral shadow imposters. Our warriors put the rivalries aside. They know what they must do. So, Mako, who are your mains of choice in your respective games, if you have any specific characters you like? You don't care about tiers at all. Shan, 12, Oro, mate. Absolutely based. I don't play Third Strike myself, but I definitely play Oro or Q in that game, definitely. Abba, Faust, Heihyun, Heihyun, incredibly based. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Ramlethal or Jacko and Guilty Gear. I'm a Heihyun main in Exard, definitively. I don't even have a secondary in that game aside from the Pocket Soul everyone has. Oh right, I should be attacking these things. In XX, it was a difficult decision, but I mostly play Slayer, although I have a little bit of experience with Anji. Ah right, can't parry out of a dash, I think. Air dodge over that. So far, so good. The lower eyeball will definitely be easier to attack. Ooh, nice one. You see that? I don't think attacking the stone is gonna make any difference. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. You've been playing more Second Impact than Third Strike recently. Interesting. But you play both. I've been spending a lot of time in Mugen myself recently. I'm trying to see about what sort of programming or modding stuff I can start taking on this channel. The Rivals of Aether here is starting because I'm trying to think about doing a workshop character. Something that at least puts some bit of a spin on this channel. They're using different attacks this time. Ah, out of spacey. Only game you can't really tell a main in are Strive, DBFC, NK. I've never played NK or Injustice. I don't think I've ever touched a single NetherRealm Studios game. Okay, note where the eyes are looking, and that will tell you what attack they're doing. The moveset's certainly changing with the health bars. I was waiting for the parry. Too long, perhaps. In that case, just get ready for dodge. Nice one. So far, so good with at least getting this far with only 2 characters. If I remember, there was a second phase to this boss fight as well. Oh, right. Once we parry the first one, we don't need to worry about the second one. I like that the parries serve as reflex in this game. I have my own fighting game design aspirations, and I'm thinking maybe applying that for universal parries as well. Ah, we can mount lava projectile from now. Okay, so we'll need to learn the timing on that one. Shouldn't need too much more damage. Parry that. Oh! And that will work just fine for us. Parries reflecting is from Smash Bros. Melee. I remember that for the very faint amount of time. Funny enough that people would be doing that more often than using the actual reflector from the Spacies. The shadow creatures have been vanquished. The newly united warriors forget their past rivalries, choosing instead to consider each other allies against any future threat to Aether. The mystery of the shadows remains. What were their true goals? Why did they incite such strife among the citizens of Aether? And will they return? Story mode clear to decisively average performance. Bronze, I suppose. We'll come back to that later and probably have better performance in the future. So, credits roll. Excellent time for some conversation then. That is a short introduction to... Oh, what's going on here? Oh, that's their little game. I remember now. We're not concerned with that. In terms of workshop character design here, now we're thinking about what sort of character we'd like to make. Obviously something derivative of myself. That's generally the plan here, is try to get some sort of interesting twist on the channel through applying more game modding. Not necessarily that the character would have to exactly be me. Nah. Not literally human Xander, but at least whatever a persona would be. I'm not a furry. Don't associate me with that. In terms of animals, so far we've heard snow leopard as an opinion, but for the sake of bad puns, how about a salamander? That would be hilarious enough, and definitely befits the sort of lanky, nerdy scientist kind of character. Snow leopards, I suppose you can get that, but you see, the characterization of the larger cats in this game certainly makes them a lot more to tough guys, of which I'm not. Physical nuclear reactors, that's an interesting take. I really wonder how that would actually be, how that would work. I hadn't thought of art streams before, but maybe a good chance to do an art stream and sketch out some character designs would be a very hilarious and interesting take. Would be a good way to spend a weekend. I'm no artist to write home about, but I suppose drawing furries is a lot easier than drawing people. Given the face blindness, that's not something for us to be too concerned about. I'm going to pick up another drink really quick while the credits roll. And move myself gently off screen here. And we make our grandiose return. Squeeze me right there. Continue into the abyss. Well, just in time. Seems we've been doing excellently here. And to be fair, you wouldn't even need to be an animal. Plenty of OCs that are human-like. Bluey Hime stick figures Rokesha. I think the restriction of at least applying some sort of an animal possibly might do better for us. But who knows? I'll definitely have to dive into the workshop scene a lot more. But yeah, if going animal, definitely say lizard for a scientist vibe. I'd probably agree. I absolutely love horrible puns, so Xander the salamander definitely gets a chuckle out of me. Tons of slippery movements that you can animate and it would fit the sneaky tone. Not that I'm necessarily the most sneaky of people, but I'm definitely somewhat of the aloof, or as mad scientists go, I wouldn't say I'm too mad, more of misunderstood. Or eccentric, that's the word. Call me a glad scientist, if you will. Although I'd definitely disassemble your microwave if you invited me over. So, Mako, I see you're watching the stream on Twitch. Is there a I assume that would be your preference then, since I'm seeing you there. I do most of my streaming actually on YouTube, but I'm currently running a simulcast right now, and I've considered doing that more in the future. I suppose if there's more of an audience on Twitch, I definitely need to start snooping around here more. I think we've had more Twitch viewers than YouTube viewers tonight. Normally it's quite the opposite case, but I guess no one on YouTube wanted to watch Rivals. It is a late stream, so I suppose that's one other issue of it. So far from what I've seen of a lot of people watching YouTube streams, they seem to be doing it right after a workday. Twitch viewers are there just all the time. Could even do the lizard thing into possible mutations, which is definitely an interesting idea. Definitely. Fine with either, mainly just easier to find stuff on Twitch. Absolutely. I'm not a dedicated Rivals player, but I am very fond of fighting games. Definitely will be branching out into more, as you expected from our discussion. Looking forward to Melty Blood a lot. If you are interested in fighting games, I might be simulcasting from here from here on out, but otherwise I am mostly on YouTube. I don't have a link anywhere on my Twitch, do I? I suppose I should probably do that. I can pause the game. Let me drop that real quick. As of yet, unfortunately, I do not have a custom URL. Should you be interested, but you have no obligations whatsoever. That is there for the convenience of it. Also, I do plan on doing content outside of just streams, so I will be doing stuff on YouTube later. Hype for Type Lumina already has 2 of your 4 mains. I've not played much of Melty Blood before, so I don't even know which characters I'd like the most. Get it. Or not. Or not. I might have to do some preliminary, Actress Again current code streams on here. You found because it is linked on your Twitch. I don't maintain my Twitch channel very much, so I didn't even know it was there. I suppose I did set up the infrastructure a lot better than I originally thought. Thank you for your time here, by the way, Megan. Not sure how much longer we have on the stream left. At this point, it would mostly be theory crafting, probably spending some time in training mode. Maybe checking out the workshop. I would like to take a look at any of those characters that you mentioned. If there's any specific ones you'd recommend to check out on stream. A couple nights ago, I did show off just the typical jokes of the 100% accurate Fox, because I know one of my other viewers is an avid Melee fanboy. He'd get a kick out of the joke there. A Fight the Viewer stream is definitely on the list too. You play Awashia / Scion, not yet in. Scion's likely, given that Scion was even in Uni. At least I'd hope that they bring Scion in. Miyako, Fumun, Seifuku. Primarily what Lumina is based on. I'm tempted to go maids for the lulz, as that was definitely a character appealed to me. But, didn't they just reveal, I already forget his name. The really muscular guy. That definitely plays into the type of characters I'm interested in. The dodge didn't last long enough. Lumina is a prequel, so no Wara or Scion. Disappointing. Not that I had any particular attachment to either of those characters, though. We don't necessarily need to be sticking in the Abyss mode here either, but that's another example of what this game has to offer. Another thing I did find today, and apparently it just came out about 2 days ago by coincidence. There is someone who's developed a Game Maker Studio 2 project, which has a Smash engine and rollback netcode. I am very familiar with Game Maker Studio 2, so that would be something else interesting to play with. I do have eventual game design aspirations, but I might not be doing... Is that missile still off screen? I do have game design aspirations, but not necessarily a Smash clone. I'm a lot more fond of more traditional style fighters. But having a code base to build something with rollback off of, and a custom engine would definitely be an interesting thing to do. Especially on stream. Yeah, that was the name. Can't fireball through that. Ileana weak missiles take... Oh, the weak missile takes forever to disappear. It was off screen forever. Abyss mode is fun. Did they actually have netplay Abyss? That would be an interesting thing to waste time with. I don't think they do. Well, with a code base, I could definitely make it happen. Interesting that they have the projectiles last even when they go that far off screen. Not like they'd be coming back anyway. Waiting until slightly off screen to disappear, I understand. Especially considering you might want them to turn back around, but that thing lasted forever. Just in time. Oh, you can play Abyss Endless online. That's an interesting idea. Might try suggesting that for the streams, although everything here is going to be mostly freeform. I know the viewers I have so far mostly just appreciate having something chill on in the background. I do have one viewer who says he's very interested in picking up the game, though. That would be the aforementioned Melee boy. I've played a few rounds of Strive with him before. I wonder what other VTubers would be playing this game. I know there's quite a few of them playing Strive, and I can definitely look for some collaborations there. Only mode you can't play online is training. Straightforward. It's me, but covered in netherite. How's that for your armor, buddy? So close. If the ping's playable, I'd be down. Where are you located, Nico? I'm sitting pretty cozily in Texas. Whoa, there's a rocket launch for you. US East Coast. That would definitely be doable. Wave 15, not that bad for a first try without any runes. Let me know if you'd actually be interested in a little bit of that right now, or if you're just here to chill. I don't have any plans past the story mode, so mostly it's here to vibe and discuss potential character design ideas. I am talking way too fast. Alright, I'll need a reminder how we're doing this, though. Last time I actually played Rivals Online with a friend was... Oh, when was it? Heck, I do believe that was about 2 years ago. Set your region to begin playing online. West Coast, East Coast, Midwest. Wonder why Midwest is after East Coast then. I'd imagine it would be in the middle between the two of them, but it's mostly just scrolling off of the most populous areas, I'd imagine. Display custom colors. I really need to make a Xander palette. I did on my alternate account, but I don't think that's here. Let's check. Extras. Custom colors. Nope, it looks like these are all stock. We're not too far off, essentially. You'd mostly need red and teal to an extent. A bit of darker red and a bit closer towards an orange. A reddish orange. Right about there should suffice. Suit is green, make that a bit more teal. Actually, wait, no. Cloak should go for a white, obviously. Ah, there's codes. That's a good enough start. I forget how this is done. Is that a Steam print code number, I believe? Playing with a friend no matter the distance. That might work. Gotta add you on Steam. Alright, simple enough. I had it copied, I guess that didn't work. Oh, Rivals of Aether. Last played on September 7th. I suppose this would be the one in question. Let's pop that out now, shall we? Funny, that number didn't actually seem to work for me on Steam. Oh wait, that's a friend code, that's what we need to look. Okay. Simple enough. I put that in the wrong search bar. It's been a long time since I've interacted with the friends list on Steam. Set that status to online. So what's on your mind, Mako? You tell me if we want to do Versus or if we want to do, Abyss. I don't have any preference, but if you have practiced this game regularly, I will not prove much of a threat with one of my other characters. I certainly don't mind being bodied on stream, that's every Strive experience. Should have been just the one, right? Fine with either. Why not? Maybe a best of 3 to start out with. It is getting to about time for bed, so maybe the stream won't be lasting too much longer. Excellent. And an excellent ping, too. What do we do? We started on a custom color set for Clarion here, so that's the best we'll get. I think after the stream is done, I'll be making that better. 3 stock, 8 time. Why not? Oh, strike a stage. Let's not go there. Alright, it's done a little differently than I remember. I suppose it's been a while. I definitely miss the wall jump directions myself very often. I wonder if you can hear that tech on the mic. I have the noise cancelling on, so maybe. Maybe not. Go for the glory, and miss. Well, that's a slam dunk. I haven't seen that skin before, that's new, I think. Get back up there. Not enough. Alright, so far it's a relatively even match. A little late on the parry. Get him with the timber. Ah, I'm strong. Welcome. Glad to see you. How are you doing tonight? We are doing a little bit of friendlies and rivals of Aether, and you are welcome to join if you haven't known the game. Although I'm not particularly good. Ah, the dramatic last stock. Let's begin. Oh, so close. Didn't really have a way to approach from those platforms very well, did I? Go for the glory, every single time. You're a little new here, so getting your feet wet. Here in, the stream, or in regards to Rivals of Aether? Sadly, you don't have rivals. Well, go ahead and sit back and relax. Take it at your own pace with regard to the stream, though. I prefer a very relaxed environment, in spite of the fact that I play fighting games, but I do my best not to get incredibly angry at them. Ooh, almost. Oh, that's good. That's good. Excellent match. That was fun. Best of 3. Animal Man 49, welcome. Glad to see you show up on the stream. How you doing? I wonder if I want to do it. You know what, let's cancel ready. Let's do a little bit of Aliana. Oh, I like that custom palette a lot. Actually, in retrospect, wasn't there a clearing color that was practically Xander color? There it is, that's the one. That's already almost Xander colors. Teal, red, and white. Arcade skins are the one skin lines made for tournament companions. I'm doing very well for myself, Animal Man. I haven't played too much Rivals in my time, but I'm glad to be pulling it out of the old bookshelf, essentially. What we are aspiring to, in the coming time, is I'm going to see about trying to make a custom character for this game. As of the namesake Turing, I am a programmer. I really don't care what gets banned, what gets struck. Sure, let's go with this one. Uh-oh. Mirror match. Yeah, and so far we're speculating on ideas for what we'll be doing for said character. Currently, in terms of characterization of myself, it's not going to be a completely custom character. It's supposed to be derivative of me, of course. So far, we're thinking a salamander or some sort of a lizard with atomic fusion powers. Might fit my characterization the best. Gotcha. I suppose that was my own doing. I suppose I could have up-beat just fine there. Coming soon, we might have a stream where we go ahead and program it on screen, or take the time to brainstorm some ideas. I do love that uphill. That's worth it to get the neck back. Oh, almost. You know, I might go ahead and... I'm speculating skipping the Strive stream this weekend. Might go ahead and try to do some more Rivals. Maybe Strive tomorrow night and then go ahead and do a more Rivals character design focused stream on Saturday. I've been very interested in doing the longer streams lately. I've noticed that I've had a chance to get a few more viewers, and it's definitely fun having a chance to see more people show up. A longer stream might help with that. Not enough of that forward smash. Oh, missed the parry. And still get hit by missile. Suppose I should have run around that turning radius. DI, and not good enough. Almost. As much as I'd love to do a rocket punch on my own character, that, for one, doesn't fit the theme, and two, that's already done by Alien. I'd prefer not to duplicate what's already been done. Reinventing the wheel and whatnot. I do love that up tilt. Whenever it hits, at least. Great minds think alike, I suppose. That means you're a genius, because I already know I'm one. No? That'll suffice. I forget. Oh, that is 2 wins in your favor. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of a round of Abyss then, I suppose. Endless. Aether stages. Simple enough, I don't think I have any runes unlocked on these characters yet. GG's, Mako. Indeed. I'll have to get a little bit better at this game. I would very much look forward to playing it more often, though. I'm very fond of Smash-style games, but not Smash itself, and if we can get an alternative that has better netcode, I'd be very excited to play it more on this channel. Level 1 Clarion. Let's go. Get that one gone, and that one. Obviously, the character that we'd have to design would definitely have to be signed. Now, we might have an excellent idea so far, but that's not put all our eggs in one basket. What else do we have for the options? Being a mad engineer of sorts, obviously I can pull some gadgets out of my back pocket. That'd make for an interesting character. Sort of another Bowser Jr. spin, which you'd be. Ah, well, I suppose that's a niche already occupied by Eliana as well. Maybe not necessarily do the whole engineer bit, since that's what Eliana's focusing on. Creativity is best supplied by having restrictions. Alright, I'll cover the top. I didn't know I could actually break that with a smash attack. Interesting. Wombo combo that shit. Everything okay over there, Napier? I see you mostly just hopping around. Oi runes are busted. Ah, taking the time to type in the chat. I haven't even investigated the ways things. I've looked at it for a few of the characters, but I see you planting arrows just about everywhere. I did a Clarion build which focused on the down B, and that was mostly used to make it harder for Clarion to die, on top of being able to negate all of those projectiles from the gatekeeper, whatever it's called. You know, now I think about it, doing that for, doing Ori for the portal challenge will actually do very well, given you can just bounce off of it like that, so easily. Ah, no down B for me. That would actually be a very excellent support skill as well. The build I was using focused on making the down B bigger, and I believe it was take less knockback while you're inside the field. Oh, and the one that let you just... I forget. Was that a rune, or can you just go ahead and hold down B and still make it come out? Oh no, that was a 2-in-1, I believe. That you could hold down B and the whole B would come out. Excellent stuff so far, Luigi. Harder than last time I did co-op. You know, I blanked out there. Were we just attacking them the most time? I don't think I spent too much time in the actual light itself. Spend your time talking, and then it's just time to turn the brain off. Ah, still not working. That hover lasted an awfully long time. More of the same. After this time it just repeats. I don't think this mode has too much interesting stuff going on after the first few rounds. Alright, it's another set of this, and then we do the gatekeeper boss. Funny enough, those explosions are also blocked by Clarion's down B. Although I still think they hit on the first rip of the brain. Ah, we tried. Got a little cocky. I tried going ahead and parrying that stuff with my down B itself. I forget. I wonder if there's conditions actually being better. It's just, nah. Abyss moves like this will probably be right then and there. Almost. Not too long before the healing should. Ah, well, good enough. that leaves us off at the 2-hour mark on the stream. I'd love to stay here longer, but I do have work tomorrow, so I think I'll start making my preparations off-stream before going to bed. Thank you for your time here, Mako. I've definitely had fun. I'll let that compensate for the stream delay for a little bit. But we'll be closing down the stream here relatively soon. Thank you for your time here, Mako. Wonderful. So, let's see on the schedule for this weekend, since I'm still not doing anything too formal. GG's indeed, Mako. Absolutely. What is it? Tomorrow is Friday, I believe. Fridays are usually Strive days, and I'm definitely going to miss playing that game if I skip out on it, so let's look ahead towards Guilty Gear Strive tomorrow. Then Saturday, assuming I don't have anything else in my schedule come up, I do have a little bit of stuff to be doing with friends. That'll take me a moment to think about. I might actually go ahead and do some brainstorming off-stream, but it would be nice to set up an art stream. If I don't have anything for Saturday, we might sit down and do a very laid-back character design stream and brainstorming for Rivals of Aether stuff. Bye indeed, Sushi Fairy. Thank you for your time here. Yeah, it would be nice to sit around and bounce around ideas, so I'll see if I can fit my schedule around to allow for a very long stream on Saturday night. I assume most of the viewer audience here is American. Do you have any preference for mild evenings where it's just around 6 p.m., 8 p.m., or are we looking to start late and go into the early hours of the morning? Let me know. Don't get your hopes up, Sushi Fairy. I am nothing to write home about in the art department. But if we're focusing on just doodling some funny animals, I suppose I could suffice with that. A couple of references and definitely some patience for a very long stream will help us along with that. Go ahead and sketch out, we'll be going ahead and sketching out some ideas for character functions, movesets, and design. Fridays are booked for you, sadly. You'd love to brainstorm, though. Well, tomorrow would just be Strive, and the VODs will always be up on YouTube. This is actually a simulcast, in case you haven't noticed yet. I'm streaming on both YouTube and Twitch, and I pay more attention to my YouTube, but from here on out, I might go ahead and start being simulcasting as much as possible. If you would like more consistent updates, I do have a link to the YouTube channel on my Twitch. And I will definitely always have VODs saved up there for later, as well as other content and compilations when I start getting to it. For now, Strive definitely tomorrow, and I'll wait until Saturday afternoon to decide whether or not I'm doing any stream on that day. It might be something spontaneous. You prefer pre-midnight, Mako, but if we can until 1 to 2 is fine. That's usually how my schedules go as well. I will post roughly sometime around on Saturday afternoon on whether or not we'll be doing anything there. The undo button is your best friend for art. I am a coder, so I am very familiar with Control-Z myself. Alright. Strive stream definitely tomorrow night. No idea how late in the evening it'll be, but anticipate that to go on for a while. I absolutely love Strive, and I love being here with y'all. It's a lot more fun streaming than I originally anticipated. I've had on many of my off days, I've thought to myself, I wish I was streaming right now. Saturday after that will possibly be art or brainstorming stream and maybe some programming. Not sure about any plans for Sunday or the next week, but I would like to get back to more Dead Cells and Noida, so Saturday's stream is up in the air, completely spontaneous on what's going to happen. Tomorrow is definitely Strive, though. I'll be excited to see any of you there. You're excused from class now. You do not need to ask permission from me if you would like to leave. I'm mostly just leaving a buffer here for everyone to say goodbye and goodnight. I'm not the most authoritative of teachers. You're welcome to come and go as you please. But I thank you very much for your attendance.